Alrighty lads, what's up and welcome to the third hour of Power Heroes Byzantium. So where we previously left off, we came out of our second victory against the Ottomans, but honestly with our strategy it's more like our third victory, right? As we initially took Greece, Bulgaria from that initial play, spawning rebels, and then now the Asia Minor coast. At this very moment we're actually over 100 overextension, which does put us in line to potentially get some pretty nasty events. But our prestige is popping off really nicely. I've got a 68-year-old ruler, which means that I can potentially kick heirs incoming, disinherit them, and we're pretty much, I shouldn't be cocky, but we're pretty much guaranteed here to either get like a talented and ambitious daughter, which is increased chance the older your ruler has. I think it begins at 40 and then 50, 60, and soon to be 70 have increased chance of getting talented and ambitious daughter, who also begins normally about 13 years old. Or alternatively, of course, a random roll of Russian Dynasty, which that in of itself is pretty cool. Wow, interesting. Muscovy fed Pskov here a decent amount of clay and actually playing somewhat smart, saving him the admin cost. I do want to throw it out here, guys, that our little border state Wallachia has 20% fort defense, okay? And that's one reason that I like to utilize them, is one of our next moves is going to be incorporating Epirus into the country, and we've been kind of making him pay for our occupations, if you remember previously. Somehow, even though he was sat on for a long time, he doesn't have any debt. Speaking of Wallachia, they don't have any debt either, and we do want to manage their economy a little bit if we can. We pulled an alliance with the Mamelukes last sessions. I'm going to give him military access to actually buffer his relations up, which is pretty damn hype, honestly. That's really cool. They flipped friendly, feeling really, really strong with our three allies here, and definitely not worried about a coalition that we would potentially otherwise worry about. So I do want to talk about the fact that we basically just 100% at the Ottomans, and we have a really long truce. Now, what did we do previously? We truce reset them. So you always want to look around, and I can't believe my eyes, and see if they are re-upping a new alliance or a guarantee, particularly on a nation that you do not have a truce with. This is my truce map mode here. Caraman. Wow, okay. They could potentially cancel that guarantee. We'll keep an eye on it. I can't, I'm going to start fabricating on Caraman, and I can't go back to war right now because my cause won't progress. But we're going to allow our cause to finish, very crucial at this stage. And I'm going to try to attack Caraman here and quickly ravage. You can see how devastated the Ottomans are. Quickly roll over their country and white peace them, resetting that truce. So you always want to look out for opportunities to do that. And otherwise, I could potentially take this province from Janda if I like, but it is a little bit of a liability over there. So it would require us to transport around and so on. So one of my goals here before this session ends is to defeat Venice. Now, for people who don't know, Venice is a very powerful Italian. I mean, in terms of just starting dev and affluence, you know, Venice is weaker than Genoa in the beginning of the game, but they do capitalize so much of it. They control so much of the trade power there. They are actually pretty much the most powerful Italian. And in fact, a kind of underrated nation and a very powerful nation just in general, Venice, I'm talking about. So what typically happens, though, is they at least somewhat decline because the Ottomans take over these islands. If you spin the Ottomans into sort of a complete downward spiral, they are not going to take over Venice or have Venice potentially decline at all whatsoever. And so Venice can actually potentially be a real threat and a real problem if you deal with the Ottomans. With that being said, in our case, we have Austria to help us out, so that's really cool. You can see here that Austria is actually out-teched, as he's been running with this 1 in mil the entire game, and he actually has fewer troops. I can also see here that he somehow has some debt, so this is one of the most pathetic emperors I feel like I've ever seen in my life, but that's okay. We're just going to give him some time here. The other thing we could do is go into Kosovo, but we also have plenty of rebel factions incoming. So let's turn the speed up here as we're literally just chilling. I am going to begin to go into debt a little bit. I want to remove this monopoly. You can see the loyalty was just over the influence finally. And this guy here is going to be what? Let's see. We've got the advisor cost reduction. I will leave this free for the governing capacity. That's what I will do. I mean, missionary strength is really nice also, though. We do also want missionary strength. It's a good way to get the clergy loyalty without influence, so I'll take this. That's fine. That goes away if you actually are able to convert your country with improving your religious unity. So we're doing fine with Empire Government rank on governing capacity, and we'll take that in the meantime. It's a really nice way, like I said, to get the loyalty up really high. So actually, once the loyalty goes over 60, you get those nice bonuses, but it doesn't improve your influence, is the point. Now, I'm just trying to think, guys. We could go into Naples. At this stage... Oh, wow. The Aragonese king... Oh, wow, okay. I was about to say the Iberian wedding has not happened. The regency ended here, but we actually legitimately have a queen here and then a king here. So the Iberian wedding is guaranteed to pop off here in a moment. Okay, let's curry with the Mams, guys. We might require to call the Mams in against Venice if we really want to have a good shot at beating them. Good thing that I re-upped the cause after accepting the Bulgarian culture here, because it speeds it up just ever so slightly by a few months nowadays. And, yep, we're actually overextended right up until the point that those finish. Just running a deficit here, which is stressing me out just a little bit. I wonder, I'm going to turn my fleet maintenance down even though we're protecting trade. It's just slightly more economical. And it's only going to get worse here, this deficit that we're running, while we fight rebels. War exhaustion's all the way down at 0. When I declared on Wallachia last session, it was not at 0, and I feel like we've been pretty action-packed since then, so kind of surprised. The Ottomans are on 14k here. Let's see about the size of that Bulgarian stack. It's 12. Okay, and we should be able to get an indication as to where they're going to spawn. It says here that they spawn in Sardik here. It's Sofia, I believe. I'll try to get defensive if they don't spawn next month, which they probably will. Nice event there for some admin points. Very nice. And they spawned. Unfortunate. It's okay. Let's just brute force them down. No problem doing that. If anybody is wondering here, we want our ruler to die, but drilling your ruler does not increase the likelihood of them dying any longer. That's no longer a thing. You can just simply make them a general. That's all that does it. Them dying in combat or from attrition, it doesn't increase the likelihood that they die, but you do get punished when, in fact, they do die. We've still got this guarantee from the Ottomans out here that's really intriguing me. Wow, guys, beautiful. 25% fort defense until the end of the game on our mountains fort. Now, that fort will not be here forever, but that is really nice. Really, really nice. I like that a lot. How's the manpower coping? It's pretty good. We're going to take a little bit of punishment on the manpower here, dealing with rebels. But overall, pretty dang good. We've got 3 other rebel factions all in the Anatolian side. You know what? Let's keep drilling. This is going to be my kill rebel stack right now. Operation Kill Rebels. Yeah, like I said, my goal is to defeat Venice this session, okay? If we can defeat Venice, get these provinces sort of declining, I'm going to feel happy. And I would love to also fabricate on Genoa and defeat them. Looks like the Shadow Kingdom event just took place. Nice, so we can go into Genoa. One thing that I really highly recommend, guys, Genoa, being an Italian, they can often ally France or something like that, and it's awkward, okay? But because of the sea dynamic, you should be able to win eventually. It's just a matter of time until France dishonors or something like that, or is embroiled in a large war, and you win over controlling the seas, okay? So you take the island, you get the ticking war score, and then you beat him up and you blockade this, all right, which gives you a ton of war score here, blockading his whole country, basically his only capital. And then you just take the islands, all right, even though you could be fighting a lot of troops. That's how you want to deal with Genoa. But what's really important, if you can, guys, is to take Corsica itself. It's going to give you a lot of strategic value out here in terms of your ships. What do you call it? The support of your ship range, where they can be repaired and so on, or they don't suffer attrition. But also, it is actually required for one of these missions, which is the Western Isles. You can see that. So attacking Aragon, aka Castile, which is about to be, is not that bad or hard if you beat them at sea with your galleys. It's really not that bad. You can just be on the war goal here, beat them up at sea, and you can actually take the islands, but you need Corsica as well. It doesn't all come from just one nation, it comes from multiple nations. That's what I'm trying to say. Try to take these two and Corsica in the one war, if possible. So like I said, we're going to rack up some debt here, guys, but we're going to be seizing here shortly. And your trade income is crippled, for people who don't know. It's crippled when you have overextension. So right now, we really have a weakened economy. But once we stayed up this side, our economy is going to be strengthened. Now let's also talk about Patriarchal Authority. There's typically events which give you bonuses. I think we got one in the first hour. There are events which give you bonuses at the expense of Patriarchal Authority. And much like the estates, how you sort of have an initial phase and then you transition into the next phase. It's interesting, the Ottomans attacked Genoa themselves. We might want to follow suit, prevent them from getting military access if possible. You want to do the same thing with Patriarchal Authority. I like to be low. It's actually the same with mercs as well, right? Very similar. As you respect the professionalism, you can hire mercs early, and then you transition into a manpower-based gameplay. It's the same with the early game estates, where you abuse the crown land, and then you transition into abusing the modifiers. And Patriarchal Authority, you want to take advantage of those bonuses. Often you will gain increased stability, for example, and then switch into, you almost feel obligated to keep boosting your Patriarchal Authority up. Now, the last thing you want to do is consecrate Metropolitan here, up to 5 Patriarchal Authority, and then you gain an event, lose 5 Patriarchal Authority and gain stability, right? We're going to hang around that 0. Now, we've had a lack of those events so far, which is alright, but I'm just saying, we want to hang around at 0, and therefore, sometimes it's gain stability, gain some money, gain some prestige, gain some admin points. You can get events like that, back to back. Okay, textiles are fine for now. Speaking of money, helps us out a little bit. Now, these Ottoman rebels walked off somewhere. Beautiful. So we didn't get punished with an overextension event, which is really nice. It could have easily happened. We're now under 100. Alright, and let us seize land. Iberian Wedding pops off. Hungary rivals us. He's returning the rivalry. Alright, let's state up Bulgaria. Do not consecrate inside of Constantinople trade region. Not a good idea. No military access for Genoa because the Ottomans will walk onto our islands that we wish to take for ourselves here in a moment. And what I like to do under this circumstance is actually at least summon the Diet, okay? We're going to summon the Diet to fix the nobility, and the clergy and the burghers are that much closer. If we can pass this, they will be better, and that's a marketplace for +1 production in Constantinople. Excellent. And that will help fix this here. Absolutely happy to do that. We're also going to sell land, which will put me at 18. So in my view, we're in a pretty good dynamic to develop, right? So what I will do, I'd really like for these cores to finish. We've got reduced development by 5% here, but what can you do? We're going to dev our capital a little bit more. I want to do it in my capital. Of course, your capital has reduced development costs for people who don't know. But by doing it in our capital now, if we were to do it later on, our capital is going to get huge. Especially as Byzantium, because you gain all of these bonuses like that, 11 development to our capital. So we want to dev it now and not dev it later. This is the perfect opportunity. You can see we already have pretty good control over Constantinople. It's going to improve when our cores fix up. But this is increasing the goods produced, guys. The goods produced. So I'm going to try to dev here up to, let's see, do a couple mil. And then really abuse the Diplo. There we go. And I want to go up to 30 here, 30 crown land if possible. So it's feeling pretty expensive to me, guys. Oh, we're so close. One more. Okay, fine. Do an admin. There she is, and that allows me to sell titles but still be above 20. So I'm going to wait until we state this stuff up. So the sell is going to be that much more valuable. Okay, so first things first, we have our claim and therefore our truce reset against the Ottomans, okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to truce reset the Ottomans. So in order to do that, now that the rebel factions are gone, we want to basically carpet siege him as quickly as possible. We could assume that he's walking up here to fight Genoa. I'm going to now Scourge Epirus, just so he's not called into wars. That way we never find ourselves in that situation where I want to piece him out, but I can't. Okay. Let's get ready to blockade. No military access for the Ottomans. And boom, let's jump in. Now, these cores, of course, have been slowed down, guys, but not for long, right? It's not going to take long to get out with the Ottomans, I hope. Find out. Based on the geography of his country, every occupation hurts him a lot, right? He's not that large of a nation. He doesn't have any fort. So a white piece here should be super, super easy clean. Doing this nice carpet siege playstyle. Okay, there he is. Unfortunately, nearer than I would have hoped. To play extra slow. They have 15 total, that's it. So we want to walk out east now because he's going west. Just play an avoidance. Okay. To be honest, I think letting him go over to our side is fine. And then we'll trap him there. It does hurt our... create some kind of devastation in our capital. So he turned around. Never mind. It's going to say we're not building prosperity yet. But he did turn around. I see Genoa there. Genoa blocking him off in the other war. Let's take it nice and slow. Where's he going to go? This 2k looks dead to me. It's a shame. I honestly didn't expect him to be right here, considering he's at war with Genoa. I checked his military access. But it is what it is. It's 2k manpower down the drain. Just keep occupying. Moving out away from his troops. A good thing to do, of course, will be to sit on his capital. Simply sitting on it will disenthuse him. Just playing in avoidance is definitely a viable strategy to be done. Regardless, it's definitely something you guys want to consider. It's just avoiding. We can see his entire army is right here. So we're just walking away from his army. That's what I'm doing right now. Constantly walking away and just trading occupations. Okay. Remember, guys, you can scorch earth if they're going to catch you to slow down their movement. But that is done it only slows down their movement if you have control of the province. So I can't tell you how many times when I'm streaming that people tell me to scorch Earth, as though it's going to help me, when it's not going to help me under that circumstance. Now, I want to show you guys another little trick. This may work, it may not. It seems to me like the Ottomans are walking down to this fort, right? Well, what you can do is stop sieging the fort, and often they will change their sort of protocol if you do that. It doesn't seem like it's working here, though. Speaking of scorching, I'm going to scorch this. We actually have nowhere to go, so I'm getting a little bit of punishment here, guys, and what I'm going to do is just simply white piece the Overlord. Okay, you can see we got 29 force limit. I would have easily taken this, I would have been happy with that, and white pieced the Ottomans, but this is just getting more trouble than it's worth. So this is a really nice strategy. If you can take a small nation like Cyprus, Ragusa, Karaman in this case, if they're very small, the Overlord, we're sitting on him, we've got decent war score, and he will quit, he'll give up. Okay? So that, of course, affects the Ottomans as well. But that was getting a little bit heated there. I felt like I was going to take some pain and some punishment. So instead, we're just going to get out of that war. Job done. The Ottoman truce went down from, it was a 15-year truce, so it probably was still 13.5 years, you know, down to 5 years. Keeping that momentum, we're going to come in and chunk the crap out of him in the future once again. But next up, I think it's time to do Genoa. Genoa and the Ottomans are at war. I'm looking at his diplomacy. It doesn't seem like anything crazy. So I was talking about Genoa earlier, wasn't I? It's time to take these two as well as that island. Really taking into consideration missions. It's all about the missions. Let's go. So how are these cores doing? They, of course, were not progressing throughout the course of that war. You can sell while you're at war, guys. We're up to 300 ducats here. Genoa's 9k. That looks like he's in trouble to me. I see. Serbia. I see. Venice is about to take this gold if we're not careful, guys. Let's go in and take the gold for ourselves. That's unacceptable. Let's go get the gold from Kosovo finally. That's another thing we've been meaning to do. Plenty of opportunities, right? It's really nice to have our the control, our own fate within our own hands and control. I really like that. Speaking of which, I'm just going to loan up here, guys, and build this marketplace. In this marketplace, we will get good returns in the meantime, and it gives us +1 production. I'm not really going to dev this ever again. It's going to end up being like 50 development from missions and so on, which is really, really nice. But let's get that production. Really good. Even though I took a loan. Oh, no. Oh, no. He bet me to the gold. Damn it. Okay, that's just going to have to be another province that I take from Venice themselves. But, damn it. Yeah, you get more aggressive expansion taking that land from Catholics as opposed to Orthodox. You don't gain more aggressive expansion, but I think you guys know what I mean. It's more relevant being from Catholics, so... okay, back to Genoa. We're definitely gearing up towards Venice. I've got favors with Austria, and we're working with the MAMs, guys. That's the plan. And we're hoping to just overwhelm them. But let's get busy. It's time to do Genoa. He's got nowhere to go, so this is going to be a nice stack wipe. We're used to fighting very powerful nations. But... Genoa is there. Yeah, Genoa is a Western guy. We actually out-tech him, guys, so he's going to get absolutely butchered. Easy stack wipe. They've got nowhere to go. And... if we look at their forces, we actually outnumber them, which is superb. But his fleets are going to be a little bit annoying, so let's go around taking naval battles, work away at them, because we want to be able to go blockade over here without him blockading us. That sort of thing, right? So just take victories where we can. Cyprus has 3k. Interesting. Okay. We're limited by our transports here, but we actually have a lot of transports. Speaking of which, I just stole some. Let's go down to 11. Our fleet's getting slightly large to manage, in my view. But yeah, let's go get Cyprus. If we land on Cyprus with 11,000 troops, then he will get wrecked. And let's continue to use our diplomat, guys. I definitely think we're going to want to fight Castile. And I think I would like France in the long run as an ally. I want to switch Austria to France. Speaking of Austria, he's now geared up to 33,000 more troops. That's definitely more like it. And we're just waiting for him to tech up to 5, like to be on par with everybody else before calling him in against Venice. As even though we call in the Mamelukes and we're going to have sort of astronomical numbers and so on, it's Austria who's going to be fighting most of the war, right? He's going to be lifting the weight himself. The heavy lifter there, as they're all his neighbors and so on. I just want to sort of reiterate, you can see the cell titles is increasing in value more and more and more every time we look. Turn this edict off. Oh, I didn't realize I actually transported out there. Just repairing our ships up. Let's push. There it is, boys. There it is. Do you know what that means? That means Russian Dynasty, and he's a 643. Oh my goodness, the blessed up roll. Wow, dude. That is Papa Bliss. So we're just casually having the greatest game of all time. This is 20 years into the game, guys. We're working on that. After the Venetian War, we will have completed the take the islands, which gives us the claims on these islands. And AE with Europeans is looking superb right now, no problem at all. The downside is we've got 14,000 troops to deal with. Wow, that's really something, isn't it? Now, I do want to say, I kind of, there's no point worrying or obsessing over these rulers when he was like 70 years old and he wouldn't die. But what you would be doing, of course, if you were getting heirs, is disinheriting your heirs, okay? In our case, that guy lived for a long-ass time, but we weren't getting heirs. The worst case scenario is when they live and you keep getting heirs, right? Wow. Okay, so we are a Russian dynasty, boys. That means, of course, we have skin in the game for Russia. We really want to... one thing you can do is just pick away at the Crimean region round here, right? Calling Russia in and giving him big chunks. And, of course, Smolensk is a very significant province because often Muscovy will ally Ryazan like this, and he requires Ryazan to form Russia. And so sometimes he can really, like, wreck himself. He should be forming Russia, but he's full on derping. Alternatively, Smolensk. It's Smolensk, which is this province, or that province, are required to form Russia. And as long as he has Novgorod and Muscovy, Vladimir, etc., he will form it. So we can take, like, a trade center like this, humble war, give him land up there, and as he gets bigger and bigger, we're going to PU him down the line in the future. Of course, let him use all of his monarch points, coring up the provinces. One of the best things to do, most of you guys know that what you want to do in your own subcontinent is state, right? So we're Eastern European, but subcontinents are way bigger than what should look like your states. So you typically want to trading company everything else and state your subcontinent, just as a general rule, a loose rule. But this is way big, right? The best use of this territory, in my view, your own continent, are direct subjects, such as Wallachia. Like, what we'd ideally want is to just give all of this to Russia, right? And then PU him. That's like the ideal situation, in my view. Okay, Pretenders, you know, nothing comes free, guys. That is admittedly very expensive. You know, this costs us a lot of manpower and so on, but all for the glory of the game in the future. Just checking Cyprus, he still has 3k military units. Yeah, I mean, that's 3 manpower, 3k manpower and counting. Everybody's dogpiling Genoa right now. It's good. it just disenthuses him even more. And let's go get on Cyprus. Getting onto Cyprus is a good way to get the war score. Required. Okay, I can send 2 more troops here. But yeah, I mean, you've got to fish for those rewards, guys. I call it fishing for PUs. You know, I seem to be one of the only people with that on my mind, you know. It's kind of like any game. You have to get involved. You have to play the game to have success, you know. Sometimes you're unlucky and it's frustrating, but you have to be out here playing the game to have that success that you're looking for. Let's state this stuff up. And we're going to promote Turkish culture. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you're not doing anything, you're never going to get those PUs, right? And I get a lot of people who sort of protest and proclaim how lucky I am. And I have to admit, when it comes to PUs, I am pretty lucky. I'm switching dynasty, this sort of thing. Or at least I feel that way. I don't know, everything's relative. But on the other hand, most people aren't doing that sort of thing, guys. Byzantium is primed and ready in the beginning of the game to change dynasty like that, as you have an old heir and old ruler. Sometimes your heir passes away naturally. Sometimes your ruler passes away, your heir comes of age, and you do not have another heir. And, you know, a good 10, 15 years pass by, and your ruler's very elderly. As you can see, making money, guys. As with Powerful loans, it's only going to get better and better. And now that these are full stated, we get 360 ducats. And we're going to go ahead and tap into that. Giving us a little bit of a penalty, it's mostly the tax income, but that's well worth it to build some momentum, pay off our loans. As you can see, we're now chilling on 1 of each monarch point in the profit. Very, very nice, and it's only going to get better from here. So, let's go over to Genoa's island, just in case, Corsica I'm talking about, just in case somebody else occupies it, then I can't take it in the peace deal. And we've got one other thing to do, guys, which is beat up Venice, if you guys recall. So let's try to turn the speed up here, make some real progress, some real gains. You can see just by blockading him, guys, just like that, we have a lot of war score all of a sudden. This is what I was talking about. There's no 1000 modifier because there's no fort here, although I have seen Genoa build a fort here because of the way the AI builds forts all the time. But even if they do build a fort here, you should be able to transport over here and take it. Definitely want Corsica, though. Make sure to pick it up this time in this war. And not next time. Yeah, we already have the war score required, so it's just a matter of his enthusiasm. Let's see. We're about to get the favors with the MEMS, which is perfect. His enthusiasm is changing here. Blockades give you both naval tradition, if you look here, blockading ships, and also spoils of war. So we're able to... we've got no problem here in terms of naval tradition due to this port that we now own. We're able to just chill like this on ticking war score. And we are working on Cyprus, but I think this is perfectly comfortable. Just bide our time. Now, what about the Renaissance? The Renaissance is about to be here in Thrace. Let's do the advancement effort. Very good. I see that... Ooh, la la. Okay. Now, I'm supposed to be improving with Epirus. That's my bad. So we could be eliminating that subject. I see Bohemia is friendly, guys. Now, I would actually like Bohemia as opposed to Austria, because Bohemia is... You do have missions as Byzantium to come into this area, and it's part of Venice. I'd really like that. Bohemia can potentially be used against Austria, Hungary, and Poland. And as you feed them up like that, they will become the king, you know, of that part of the world. So he's friendly with me. I'm going to respect that. I'm going to see if I can play him off against Austria. Of course, Austria is stronger here in the beginning of the game. And they also are kind of more strategically valuable here. So we're going to use Austria and then turn against him. And as soon as we abandon Austria, we're going to have increased likelihood of pulling France, who will help us against Iberians. And yeah, Austria is a sort of fulfilling rival in the future, right? Useful. Use him for now, but inevitably he will become our rival. Marie is on Burgundy. He doesn't have a royal marriage with anybody, so it's basically guaranteed to go to Austria or France, neither of which is ideal. And by sitting on the Genoese core, I noticed there were no troops here, so why not? Let's speed this up. He's nice and disenthused. Okay, beautiful. There it is. There she is, boys. That's 3 cores for us. And after the Venetian War, we have done our next mission out here, which is recover the Eastern Islands, just to reiterate, giving us these claims on these 3, it's 6, and then Malta as well. Beautiful. I decided to sort of push the envelope there a little bit because we now have the favors with the Mamelukes. Yes, and it seems to me like both of them have no problem joining the war. Okay, now let's talk about converting a little bit, guys. I personally am not going to go for religious ideas. For me, religious ideas are try hard. The best idea you want to take when you're just chilling, having fun, is innovative for sure, 100%. Inno is the best, and it's really, really good. It's so good. I consider it a luxury idea, but it's actually so good that it's bordering on being almost as try hard as religious, but it is actually really, really fun and rewarding and really elevates the game. And we're going to be taking Inno. You should always, like, a base for people who don't understand, okay, is like a really good baseline is to take Inno, diplomatic, and offensive, okay? Those are the top 3. It always is going to change depending on which nation you're playing and so on. But if you've been heavily influenced by these like multiplayer streamers and stuff like that, these content creators, and you're out here doing economic quantity, you know, I'm not trying to diss you or anything like that, like, but just trust me, mix it up, go for Inno, Diplo, offensive, and try it out for size, try the difference, and you will realize that it's really, 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 really strong. You shouldn't be doing economic quantity in single player. Now, the thing about Byzantium is they have all of these claims from their missions, guys. Claims on top of claims on top of claims. We would really want religious otherwise. So with that being said, let's jump into this war before something unhealthy happens, like Austria attacks them. We're going to look to see what is the highest dev, and it looks like Crete is the highest dev. Now, in my case, Albania was protected by Aragon, who has disappeared to the Iberian wedding. But this is going to be the perfect time to attack him when I'm at war with Venice, and then nobody is backing him up. And if we take these 3 provinces, we have completed the other mission, which is recover Albania, right? So when a nation is guaranteeing another nation, it's very beneficial sometimes to attack the nation they're guaranteeing at the same time while you're at war. Just keep that in mind. By using favors with both of these nations here, we don't need to promise them any land. And I assume that we absolutely roast these guys at sea. Oh yeah, we do. With Austria, this little fleet, the Mamelukes here with their massive fleet. Even though Venice is sort of one of the greatest naval powers, they're absolutely nothing to us here. And this is a great opportunity to take out the knights also. Although it is a pretty aggressive play, we're still going to do it. I believe the knights are required for this mission, right? Yes, they are. That's one thing about the Byzantium mission tree. Although it is a really nice, strong mission tree, that's almost like a criticism, I would say, guys. When they added these missions at the same time that they introduced this new mission system. And so they're kind of, despite being really good, they're kind of archaic in a way. And every mission is own this entire thing, own this entire thing, own, notice that you see the word all provinces, all provinces, all provinces, all the way down. So what they kind of ended up doing is adjusting things a little bit and making it so that, you know, you need 8 out of 10 provinces here for this mission, and you know, 5 out of 7 provinces to complete this mission. That's what most missions look like, but Byzantium is all provinces. So just keep that in mind. Okay, what have we got here? That's 8. Yeah, send 3 more in here. Jump onto Rhodes before he reinforces. My friends might be struggling a little bit at sea. That's awkward. I'm just trying to set everything up first. Get on these islands. Okay, these guys want to be progressing in Naxos. And one thing we do want to be aware of is aggressive expansion here. I'm going to take out... I mean, that's the important stuff. That's the important stuff. We don't necessarily need Corfu. I'd like that gold as well. We manually claimed that. So yeah, pretty intense in terms of the AE, and Hungary needs to be put down. Hungary needs to be put down because he's going to be jumping into coalitions alongside Muslims and so on. But speaking of which, with our improved relations advisor and our improved relations here in Alexandria, establishing communities, even Dalkadar here, just a generic Muslim here, is below 50 AE, guys. So looking fantastic. Looking superb. Let's get these blockades off. You can detach blockade for people who don't know. Okay, not such a good air, but my rule is still young. Prestige is doing well. I'm making a little bit of a blunder here at sea. So we actually have kind of overkill ships, but that's 2 galleys we're about to potentially lose. I just mean we've got plenty of ships, so I shouldn't stress too much, but I guess detaching a blockade was a little bit greedy. We lost 1 galley, not a big deal. Okay, I'll take this more seriously then. Proper blockade. Transport over here. What was I saying? A good thing to do is to peace out with your really high prestige at 100 prestige, right? Or as high as you can be. Which reduces the aggressive expansion impact and so on. And then quickly disinherit after that when you're at 100, because the higher it is, the more it tapers off at a faster rate, if that makes any sense at all. The Rhodes, Knights of Rhodes have an option to increase the garrison inside of their capital, which is a little bit of a pain. You can see we have way over 9 there, and it's not actually progressing right now, but that's fine. Just take it nice and chill here. How is Austria holding up as he fights this whole war by himself? I'm going to buy this down with prestige, this event. You know, he's holding them off for now, but what about the Mams? The Mams don't seem to be doing anything more than using their fleet. Nope, I'm mistaken. They're coming over here with a whopping amount of troops. Fantastic. Very, very good. Okay, finally making progress here. Love to see it. And let's go ahead and make sure we're repairing our fleet up. So I'm actually really, really enjoying this, guys. You know, it's kind of awkward for me because I almost feel guilty. Like, I always play on very hard difficulty, so this is kind of easy for me, guys. I'm not going to lie. And it's kind of a guilty pleasure, I suppose. It's been a long time before I've just, you know... I guess this is kind of casual gameplay compared to my ultra-hardcore World Conquest style runs we were doing. But also, it's just a lot of fun, is all I'm trying to say. Ypres is at 190. Let's begin annexing them. Bring up a nice relation. And let's see, Bohemia still friendly? Excellent. After this war, I'm going to switch Austria out to for Bohemia. That's the plan. Okay. Now, I wonder if we're stuck here just for now. Alright, I'm going to tick up for -5, guys. That's what I'm going to do. The Renaissance is slightly expensive. Let's see, how much cheaper would it be It would be reduced by 10%. Okay. The Renaissance is ages away. Okay, let's turn this edict off. I changed my mind. I'm going to loan up. And I'm going to embrace, take these nice reduced cost here, be more efficient, set the cost of money. And my plan is to slow roll innovativeness. So you can see that we've been spending our admin pretty nicely, right? But I'm just going to focus my admin all the way down, and look at that beautiful 6 there, guys. So by taking an admin idea first, it's kind of like a guilty-free way to do it. So it means that you don't need to expand necessarily, right? If now that we have that, as long as we have some aggressive expansion, which is ticking down, we can rest assured that we're being pretty efficient. And there's faceting, guys. Wonderful. 0.5 goods produced, 15% trade value, so it's like an extra marketplace here. And this turns into gems. The best thing about gems is that the price goes up. So I think actually it goes up to 5. Let's see if it adjusts at the end of the month. I'm not sure. But the price goes up, which increases the wealth in Constantinople. So does the goods produced. Very, very nice. Wonderful. Manpower's doing well. It's definitely climbing. Now we could potentially sell the Renaissance to somebody like the Mamluks, but they're not making money. What about Muscovy? No. Oh, interesting. He won't do it because of reputation. That's interesting. So we've got bad legitimacy. I have a rep advisor here. Let's see. Okay, dude. Outside of colonial range. Yikes. It's not often that sort of affects you in that way. Well, poop. Okay, let's turn the speed up. I want to switch my... Did I do that right at the end of the month? Ooh, that was a mistake, guys. I didn't realize... So improved relations only matters at the end of the year. And it was actually December when I switched it out. That's really awkward. So I kind of punished myself there. We should have had better improved relations at the end of that year. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of making the odd mistake and so on. It's what happens when you sort of play casually. Let Valahia pay for this fort. I'm trying to fit this into the hour, and I'm playing a bit casually, and I'm being dumb and bad, which is okay. If you want to be really, really min-maxed, you obviously want to play really, really slowly. Cool, these are both the same development. Doesn't matter which one is the war goal. Let's go in. Nice. This is really satisfying to deal with Albania. He's often a pain, as I'm sure most of you guys know. My morale advisor, or discipline, whichever one I had, died right before we took combat. That's pretty cringe. Anyway, Skanderbeg is dead. Wow, look at these 26 Venetians. That's stressing me out just a touch. He's on tech 6, guys. Holy flip! The BAM's only on tech 4! Oh no! Venice out-techs them by 2. Oh no, I'm starting to stress, dude. Like, we obviously win this. I'm just trying to do it clean before the end of this hour here. Yeah, I was going to say Skanderbeg is dead. Leave me alone, Venice. Oh, man. I feel pain. Pain! See, this is when somebody would say, Scorch Earth, monk. Doesn't benefit you because we don't have the occupation of the province. That could be a stack wipe, guys. He out-techs us here. He's running cavalry. Yep, 7 cavalry. We're outnumbered. We'll see. See if we survive until the 30th. Pretty nice. Whew. Yep, this guy's giving us some pain. So what we would actually want, honestly, is for him... I didn't realize, guys. I thought with the numbers we'd be absolutely fine here, right? But, my friends are all, like, pathetic technology and so on. So there is Rhodes. Fantastic. And that's Greek. We call that up super, super quickly. Very nice. Yeah, we probably want to island trap him if possible, but now that we have our friends to reinforce out here, just group up, we should be okay. We have a massive number advantage, and slowly but surely, these guys are going to be separately pieced. So we definitely win here, it's just a matter of time. Fine, we'll roll with the manpower advisor. Apparently we're not going to get anything else. My train of thought all over the place right now. I was going to say that if time passes, then Skanderbeg dies, the 555 in the beginning of the game, which is very intimidating from Albania. But it's more about avoiding those guarantees and so on. My preference in this kind of situation, guys, is to keep the fort inside of... I'll roll an Admiral here. To keep the fort inside of Rhodes. That's my preference. Just because the rebels can be annoying. That sort of thing. Until it's nice and stable. Being Orthodox, Greek, and so on, it should be a nice and stable province. You can tick these up for -5, and I do have a little bit of innovativeness now. So... he doesn't care. Straight up manning up against us. Nice. Okay, we did scare him off. I was just trying to prevent Albania from reinforcing, but this is... it's tough. It's tough. We have the war goal. Naxos is low. Keep an eye out for our friends making occupations. They're mostly derping right now, getting on these provinces and getting off. Doesn't help that there are mountains and mountains here. He's very intimidated by that Venetian stack. Due to our navy superiority, now that we've done with roads, we can come over here and have a much larger impact. I have to admit, guys, here I was gloating about normal difficulty, and the game's got me working now, stressing a little bit. Like, if this was very hard, guys, I would be pooping my pants. I thought we were overkilling this as I was calling in the Mamelukes, but seems that they provide very little value for us here with their massive amount of Gabonzo troops, garbage troops, low tech. So hopefully with the blockade, Albania gets wrecked, as these mountains are a little bit of a liability. Gonna turn the speed back up. Yeah, it's going to be really nice to get the gold income here in Kosovo. And just like that, our Ottoman truce is over with. I mean, time flies, guys, when you do these truce resets. They really resolve themselves quite quickly. So, let's do a little cheeky regular insult. It doesn't cost me prestige. We actually have a coalition forming now. I'll improve with Jandar to keep him out. I think that will be a fake coalition as our diplomacy is so strong. So what happens is when you go to war, you appear to be more vulnerable, and we do look pretty vulnerable right now, right? And a coalition will build like this. So you can get an indication as to who's mad at you, but typically it will go away if you're not at war. And what you want to do is open and close the game, guys. So we're going to have the Ottomans jump in here. What's going to be really important is that we don't add Europeans like Hungary to the list. So I can see him here at 60. And because he's my rival, he will be... we can't improve relations with him. And I can't, as of right now, I can't actually attack them. So, yeah, we have to kind of respect that. Let's lock in this with Bohemia, the relation there. That will help us keep friendly with him. Maybe calling in Austria and Bohemia against Hungary. That could be the play. Alternatively, we just take a little bit less land, so I'll think about it. We don't need Crete for the mission, for example. These two and that one there are the missions. Those are most important. And then after that is the gold. But speaking of important, oh man. So this is really interesting. What's happening here is this is going to mess with the clergy estate, guys, which I don't like. But these are actually converting Muslim provinces to Catholic. That's actually really good, guys, because Muslim get -2 missionary strength. I kind of like that there. I didn't expect that to actually work. But now they're getting cleaned up. Okay, interesting. I'm not going to lie, that was not planned, guys, but pretty nice that those are Catholic instead of Muslim. And I was going to say, speaking of important, guys, sending Venice into decline one way or another. Really, really, really important. Like, even if we're just beating him a small amount, a win is a win, because it's a struggle. The Ottomans are often the one that send Venice into decline, right? We was talking about that earlier. But without him here, we have to do it ourselves. So Albania's on the verge of victory. Wonderful. And that is another mountains fort here in the meantime, which we can utilize for some of these more hardcore wars in Europe. And with the help of a blockade, with ticking war score, we're doing really well. Let's see. The Ottomans are still fighting Genoa, so he can't jump inside of the coalition. We just annexed Epirus. Very good. And let's max relations with Bohemia. I would be willing to actually promise Bohemia land and give it to him, legitimately. I have no problem giving that to Bohemia and juicing him up and making him powerful. Got rebels here walking around. Albanian 2k. No problem. So I'm kind of disappointed with our friends' performance here in Europe. They're making... I mean, this war is more difficult than I would have thought it would be. But as long as we're winning, that's what matters. So we've got hers jumping into the coalition. See, this guy can be improved out. If a nation improves to 50 plus, their outrage attitude will go away and they'll leave the coalition. I'm not sure if I finished my thought process there, guys, but on coalition resets, you want to open and close the game. If a nation should not be in a coalition, but they are still in the coalition, open and close the game, and it will fix that. Everything will adjust. So, Vienne falls. Yikes. Giving him a pretty significant amount of war score. Okay, let's go land on Venice itself. Are we comfortable doing that? I think that I am. I'm going to state this up, stating everything we can up to make as much money as we can. I say everything, but that is Constantinople trade node. Stating everything up in the Constantinople trade node. We just got rivaled by Castile, actually pretty predictable. You guys know our mission after this war is going to give us the opportunity to... Hey, friendly France! That's what I'm talking about. Let's grab a royal marriage here. So I'm hoping to ditch Austria after this war and have France, Bohemia. Everybody's respecting us, guys, because we're doing so well. The better you do, the more respect nations give you. And France is the perfect nation to be used against Castile as we take over these islands. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to kind of oversiege this. Yeah, diplomacy is also great for anti-coalition plays as well, I'm just saying. You know what, let's be really unkind to Austria. Nope, it's not going to do it, okay. I was going to say that I will give this land off to Trent, and that will really cripple Austria. We'll see if that's a possibility. Naval barrage, taking advantage of that nice navy supremacy. Austria is going to be a legitimate enemy, so I'm happy to do that. It's something you really want to look out for if possible. Sabotaging your own ally. It's also a way that you... So say for example that Austria gets the Burgundian inheritance. This is a really kind of underrated trick, but really useful. Let's say Austria gets this, okay? Very, very, very likely scenario that Austria is here. And we want to go into Hungary. I need to go into Hungary. He's ruining my game. He's potentially jumping into coalitions and so on. We need to get those truces up. But we can't deal with France. Good thing to do is to attack him and to separate piece France, handing off this land. Especially if you plan on betraying the nation who you're allied to. Right? If you plan on turning against them. That's what you want to do. Now in this case, if we could get rid of the gold... Separate pasting this guy in a couple months is going to be useful in general, but that will just really wreck Austria. It's quite funny, in a way. And Venice taken just like that. Beautiful. So my friends mostly have just been a distraction here in this war. I mean, I'm not complaining. We're doing well, but, Juice inflation. Well, we've built all the way up to 5 Patriarchal Authority with our Hagia Sophia monuments, so be it. Let's start building our Patriarchal Authority up. I will take the 5 as that 0.5 inflation is pretty whack. And I'm going to start dropping the monopolies here, guys. The Metropolitan, excuse me. Drop the Metropolitan suddenly all the way up to 30. That's going to give us increased missionary strength, manpower, and reduced unrest. Very, very nice. And that's the victory over Venice, but I am not done here, guys. We're going to grief Austria. I like that idea. Be really mean to him. Get wrecked, noob. Get wrecked, noob. Get good, noob. Outplayed. I outplayed the AI. Chad, are you proud of me? Let's go. Okay. In the case of Wallachia, you definitely just want to... I mean, you don't want to take his land, right? That's all I'm saying. Or give him land. It's prestige. Very good. Okay, before the dynamic changes too much, let's peace out. So we got everything we came for. Now, this is our coalition here. Hungary will jump inside of the coalition. That is a concern. I mean, I really want to take this as well, ideally, guys. So let's take a look at the coalition. Karaman, Jandar, Serbia, Hungary. We're going to attack the Ottoman... Wow. We're going to attack the Ottomans, I say, as he's at peace. Before he joins the coalition is what I was going to say, because he's at war, but he's at peace, so we can assume he's in. It's let's see. Ottomans, Serbia, Hers, Jandar, Karaman, and Hungary. I'm trying to decide how greedy do we want to get. We've got friendly and friendly. Friendly France. It's got a lot of troops. I think I'm going to greed it up here, guys. We're going to greed it up. And take everything. Let's see. Genoa has a truce. He's at 51, so that will go away. Okay. Let's do it. Venice is still very affluent. Take his war reparations. He will still be affluent in 200 ducats, which are a reasonable amount I actually obtained myself. Very nice. Recover the islands, passing these missions here. Recover Albania, and that even gives us a permaclaim there on the gold that we just took in the same war. Wonderful. Now everything's feeling a little bit fragile here all of a sudden. Let's turn the speed down. We're trying to manage these diplomats. I'm going to ditch Austria. Nice. Ally France and Bohemia. Okay. And I imagine Austria will... the dynamic's going to change, right? So we actually have a relation available. Triumph of Greece, so we've got 2 of those modifiers. Very, very nice. Now I can actually summon Diet and Seize with no consequence there. 25. I'm obsessed with... development with inside of Anatolia now, specifically Anatolia, guys. We're not going to dev anything outside of Anatolia for a while yet. Hey man, but there's a barracks for 1 manpower content of okay. Although that's better. This is outside of this is Anatolia, right? It's here. Yep. It actually has a trade for now and it's production on the silk. That's better. Okay, so we're going to take that +1 production. Very nice. Let's see. We're chilling on 2 loans. I'm misreading that. Yep, we have 2 loans right now. The SAL is coming up in 5 years, and we're absolutely rich by comparison. Okay, so let's take a look. Do I want to declare on the Ottomans even though I'm out of position? That's what I'm trying to discern right now, guys. Yes, I do. Because we can retroactively call the Mamluks in. Do you see that? He's just about there in terms of favors. So 1 day goes by, and boom, we're going to jump back into war against the Ottomans so that they don't join the coalition. Meaning, as of now, we just got a lot stronger with diplomacy. We can get hers out guaranteed. So even if Hungary joins, it's basically Serbia, Hungary, Jandar, Karaman, and that's a pretty pathetic coalition compared to us, especially if we take some more land from the Ottomans. Okay, so for right now, what I would do is I would attack the Ottomans. It's going to give them a little bit of a head start. We would come over here, but by calling in the Mamelukes, he's got to tech up to 5 eventually, right? Anyway, just by his sheer numbers, we would have good odds of winning this. You know, like he would separate piece AQ and so on. But that is the end of this episode, guys. So I plan to only do 3. I might be compelled to continue this further, but I think you guys can get the point, right? We're absolutely crushing it. We now have strategic control to potentially attack Iberia, aka these missions, expanding here. That gives us CB into North Africa. That's what that mission does, is start expanding into Tunis. We're limited by other things such as aggressive expansion, and I can spend my admin efficiently on Inno as our aggressive expansion comes down. Okay? So, really, really, really well optimized game. I'm thrilled with this. We're rising through the ranks here, and I would almost guarantee that we will be the #1 great power by the year 1500 at this rate, of course. An amazing ruler. This is probably an appropriate time to kick this heir who is not very good. And Russian Dynasty, like I keep wanting to stress. We've got Bohemia now, who is so strategically valuable. He's going to help us against Austria, Hungary, and Poland in the future. So we've kind of double whammed Poland, the PLC, between Bohemia and Muscovy. And we shouldn't have too much difficulty dealing with them in the future. And that's quite important because the PLC can be game-breakingly strong in this game if you don't send them into decline. But yeah, really enjoying myself. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that this was beneficial and that you learned something. And if you want me to continue the series, guys, then let me know. You know, I hope the representation there is in terms of the views and so on and the enthusiasm. But yeah, if you guys really want it, like, I could be compelled to continue. Okay, so I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys like this kind of content, consider following my live stream. There's always a link in the description down below, as this is more or less what it's normally like, except I'm playing on very hard difficulty and I'm getting really frustrated at my bad luck. But either way, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.